for our last main stage speaker today, we've got Emily Hodge, who's a psychologist and coach for edgy women in business, and she'll tell you 5 ways to lead a more gentle life. Emily. I forgot all that.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a really nice day so far. I wonder if the next slide could go on, because then I could show one of the things that I'm going to talk about today is a lot about my animals, and you'll see how much I love animals so much. Today, I want to share with you 5 ways that I know that you can lead a more gentle life and why that is really important. But also, I want to disclaim that when we think about gentle living, we probably think, it sounds nice, but it's not for me. Sounds okay, but I don't think I can do it. Sounds really like I can breathe and I can feel really good and calm. Whenever anyone says, that sounds like a really nice talk, I always say it is, but it's not exactly what you think it is. So I'm not going to talk about meditation so much today. I am going to talk about getting angry, being your honest and true self, and also being a bit of a bitch. I don't know if anyone swears yet on the stage. Can I? Yeah, bitch. Right, fine. So I also had a story, like any good storyteller, to tell you today. And it has a beginning and a lovely middle with the main part, and then a conclusion at the end. And on Monday, just gone, I had some immense, massive news. And I was thinking, I don't know if I can still tell this story, because it changes the story somewhat. And I was wondering, on the plane, when I came back from the massive news, and travelling up here, am I still going to tell the same story? And I figure that I am. You're still going to get the beginning and the middle and the end of the original story, because the news I had on Monday is still really relevant. And I'm going to tell you that news right at the end. So I thought, in order to tell you this story, I should tell you a bit about me. I live in Surrey, down in the south, and like I said earlier, I love animals. So this is my cat, Stella. Hello, Stella. Oh, that's Frank. No, that's Frank. That's my other animal. Look how happy he looks to be in my arms. So happy. Let's go back to Stella. Oh, she's just such a sweet. I love her so much. I also love dogs. This is my dog, Lexi. She's in loads of my photos, actually, because I had a photographer come over and she wouldn't leave us alone. So we basically stayed with her for the whole day. I also love being outside and walking in the countryside. And this is from a recent trip to Scotland, where I spent a month in a cabin in the northwest overlooking the Northern Hebrides. In fact, Sarah knows all about this because I talked to her a lot when I was there. So that is a version of my part of a gentle life. But I don't want you to think that if you have an idea of what you want your gentle life to be, that that's what it has to be. That it has to be animals, that it has to be outside, that it has to be meditation. Because I think what's really important about this is, in the 5 ways that I'm going to share with you that you can have a far more gentle life, one of the things that's really vital is to think about what your version of that gentle life is. Just like if we do a vision board. Has anyone here ever done a vision board for their goals, their dreams, their thoughts? Yeah. It has to be your vision board, doesn't it? It has to have the things you want on it, the colours you want from the magazines that you want, from the places that you want to go and the places that you've been. So just like that, a gentle life has to be your version too. But I suppose probably the middle part of this story really comes into effect now, because I want to share with you why a gentle life became so important for me. 10 years ago, almost to the day, I was in a Bikram yoga class. Has anyone done Bikram yoga? Yeah, it's pretty intense. 26 postures, like a lot of, I can't do it because I don't do it anymore. And I cricked my neck a week before I was due to get married. I have to say the Bikram yoga place were awful. They never contacted me again. They didn't find out if I was okay. So I went into my marriage, into the wedding, walking up the aisle with this massive, I actually didn't have anything on my neck at the time, but I had sort of steroids and all sorts of stuff. And I remember thinking at the time, this is kind of ominous. Is this how, my wedding year is going to go? The wedding was amazing. I'm actually still married to the same husband, which is nice. We had a brilliant honeymoon, also in Scotland. And 3 months later, I discovered I was pregnant. Super exciting. 1 month after that, I discovered I had bowel cancer, and I was no longer pregnant as well. And that set off a decade of absolute change. So all of us in our lives, this story today isn't actually going to be about cancer so much. But what I do want to share with you today is why that situation led to me finding a more gentle life, and why you know it's absolutely possible for you too. All of us have something, usually big, that happens to us in our life. It might be amazing and positive, but still life-changing. And often the thing that people quote there is having a baby. The other thing is that you might have difficult things happen to you. Whether they're big or not, they can impact us. And so finding balance in the change of our lives as we go through all the things that happen to us is really important. So I started to realise after I got better from cancer, and after I came out of a whole fog of treatment, and after I discovered that I couldn't have children, and after I had 4 rounds of IVF that didn't work, I really began to think about what I wanted. And I discovered that loads of us want this too. And that is this concept of feeling nicer, kinder, happier, calmer, more peaceful with our lives. However, we also find that in looking for that, life doesn't go away. Life still stays stressful. There are still loads of responsibilities. There's still loads of people to care for. There's still loads of, hopefully, money to make. There's still mortgages to pay. There's still layer upon layer of life stuff that happens that stops us from being calm, quiet, peaceful, happy, nice sometimes, and certainly gentle. And this really started to become into the fore when I left my job in the NHS about 5 years after I'd had cancer, and I set up as a coach using the psychology stuff that I'd done and the coaching experience that I wanted to use to help people after cancer. And I started to see a pattern in them. And then after a few years, I started to coach people who weren't just having cancer, but were moving through life changes. And I started to see a pattern in them too. And then after a few years, I started to coach people who wanted to leave their jobs, usually in this middle section, and move on to starting their own businesses and then build their businesses successfully. And guess what? I started to see a pattern in them too. And the pattern was that they also wanted a version of a gentle life. They wanted something that felt more peaceful, more happy, more calm, more pleasant, more enjoyable, more peaceful in themselves, in their bodies, more kind in their brains. And so this really started to resonate with me and my business. And so this concept of gentle living really hit home even more. If I wanted it and all these other people wanted it, then surely we could find a way for them to have it. But the barriers were huge. You sitting here today have come to listen to this talk, but it might also have been that you feel like, I don't know how to be nicer, kinder, more gentle, because there's loads of stuff. You got here today and it might have been stressful. You've got something happening on Monday that's quite big. You had an argument with your partner, or your kids are being annoying. Life goes on around us, and we can't be nice and kind and happy and joyful and positive all the time. So I came up with these 5 ways, because I wanted to make sure that gentle living was way more accessible for all of us. That it's not just about, I'm going to be really nice and kind all the time. I'm so positive, listen to me. It's not. It is not that. I am not that person. And I don't actually like people who are like that particularly. I don't really trust people like that. Like, where's the other side of you? So these are the 5 ways. And if you want to take a note of what they are, I'd love you to write them down. You may not resonate with all 5. There might be one that just goes, yes, that's the one. I want to take that home with me. This means that I could be more gentle, I could be kinder, I could be happier, I could be nicer to myself. So the first way is really what I said earlier. It has to be your version of a gentle life. So I think we've got 30 seconds to do this. If you can, close your eyes and just imagine where you are in your gentle life. Imagine who you're with, and possibly who you're not with. Imagine what you hear and also what you don't hear. And finally, imagine what you feel and definitely what you don't feel. So just take a deep breath and open your eyes. And after the talk, if you've come with someone today, check out what their version was. If you've come with someone, you probably like them. So you possibly have values that cross over, and you have things that may have been similar in your version of a gentle life. But there probably are things that are different. And that's why that exercise is so important, because you've got to aim for the thing that you want. My version is with the animals, being outside. Also, doing stuff that makes me feel really energetic. That's my version of gentle, because that's part of who I am as well. So the second way that gentle living is absolutely accessible and way more easy than you think as well is that it isn't about pretending that life doesn't have stuff that goes wrong. Like I said, this isn't about being all nice and pretty and everything's really easy. Resilient people are the ones who can ride the wave of really difficult stuff. And a gentle life is one when you ride the wave of something that's difficult, but you don't fight against it. And so I want you to remember, you don't have to suddenly think, I can't be gentle because life is really, really stressful. How could I be more kind to myself even when things are really stressful to me? The third one, who's got their phone on them? Put your hand up. Yeah, guess what this one is all about? This one is all about switching off properly and genuinely, honestly taking the time to switch off. We all know about digital detoxing. We all know about screen time. We all know we're probably scrolling and comparing on Instagram. I do it all the time. We also all probably know we use our phones to wake up in the morning, and we use it to check what's going on in the news as we go to sleep. I do it all the time. But how much then do we also say, I wish I had time to switch off. I wish I had time to rest. I wish I had more time to do whatever it is we want to do. If we've all got time to do some scrolling, some checking, some looking, then we've all got time to switch off more. There's actually a really lovely concept called wakeful rest, and it was discovered by Buddhist monks, and they discovered that the healing power of your brain is most effective when it's in wakeful rest. You remember more things when you're doing something like meditation or reading or even just in neutral space than when you're doing anything else, like when you're taking information in. So basically, if you can put yourself, probably the wrong thing to be saying today, but in an isolation room to make sure that you don't take information in, at some point in your day, you're going to be happier, calmer, your brain will thank you for it. The fourth way that gentle living is absolutely accessible to all of us, and it's so much easier than we think, is by understanding that we are whole people. So when I said to you earlier about getting angry, sometimes we can think that to be nice and kind and gentle, we have to have this side of our personality. So the bit that is selfless, giving, affectionate, good, always there, always on, available, kind. But if we're only 50% of ourselves, where the hell is the other part? What are we doing with all the bit of ourselves that is a bit frustrated, angry, annoyed, jealous, tired, pissed off, bitchy? We can't just be 50%. And actually, if we try to deny that we have this whole other part of our personality, then that's not gentle at all for us, is it? We're just squashing ourselves down and trying to fit in and try to be better, when all we need to do really is be as honest as we can about who we are, our whole selves, and then we're in flow and we find life easier. So the final way that gentle living is way more accessible than you would think is to acknowledge that actually to be gentle is to be really, really strong. So whenever I say to my clients or the people in my community or audience, I always talk about how gentle living actually makes you really bold. It's not about making yourself really quiet and meek and hiding in a corner and hoping that no one sees you. It's actually about doing the things that are really right for you, that feel really good, that get you to feel amazing about your life, about the people that you love, and about the things that you really want. So if there was to be a hashtag from this, it would be hashtag gentle but strong, which I think is Andrex. Today, I have shared with you the story that I said I was going to share. There was a beginning and a middle, and at the end, you hopefully saw that there are 5 ways that you can very easily have a much more gentle life. I'm going to find out, just by hands, who resonated with number 1, which was around your version of gentle living. Some people, yeah. Who was number 2, which was around understanding it's your personality. No, everything, you can go with the flow and you can be more resilient. Yeah, number 2. Number 3, who resonated with switching off, getting your phones off? Yeah, quite a lot. Number 4, who resonated with it being your whole personality? Yeah, that's a big one. And 5, it always being about being strong as well as gentle. A few. Okay, nice. So somewhere, everyone's possibly taken away 1. So would you like to know the piece of news that I had on Monday that nearly derailed the whole talk? On Monday, I was sitting in a radiography office watching a scan of our 20-week-old baby. Not in me, in our surrogate in Canada, discovering that we are having a girl. Thank you. And as you can probably tell, it was amazing and pretty unbelievable. It almost derailed the talk because I was thinking, how can I end on that note? But hopefully you see that for me personally, I've gotten through the last decade by using all of those techniques and coming through to the end to be having a daughter that I can celebrate on International Women's Day tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, well done so much.